Hello and welcome to my channel. Really pleased to have you here, and today's video is going to be a little different, only in as much as I am now have become a brand ambassador for Janie's Originals. Janie approached me and asked if I would like to join, and I've been a fan of her products, and so it was a no-brainer for me. So today I will be using some of her products, and I will link those in the description on the video. So what I'm going to make today is a traveler's notebook. Now, this isn't exactly like what I'm going to make, in as much as this I made quite a while ago, and this is not leather. This is made from craft card. You might have seen the faux leather sort of techniques with glycerin and distress inks, but I decided that I would like to make one out of leather, which I'll show you in a minute. Now, if you don't know what a traveler's notebook is, it has signatures, but it doesn't have them fixed in, so you can remove them and take them out. So, for example, that will come out. So, and then they just literally hook round, and the elastic keeps them in, and then this piece of elastic comes over. Oops, and grab it and keeps it all in. So what I'm going to show you is how to make one of these. Now, on Janie's website, she has leather offcuts. She does leather scraps as well, but these are from a leather offcut bundle. So they are literally, I'm not exactly sure where she gets them from, but they're all bits that would otherwise be just waste. So this is the sort of thing you get. So you can see that they are odd sizes and shapes, different colors. In this bundle there was a bright green one, different, sort of different thicknesses. So a whole load of leather, and I will link the leather offcuts in the description. So I have decided to make a traveler's notebook that will fit roughly, so it'd be roughly 6 by 6. So it would fit in sort of 6 by 12 inch pieces, and I kind of went with that because I do it means that anything from A4 I can cut down to fit in. Also 12 by 12s will cut down to fit in. Yeah, so, and it's just I find it quite a nice size to work with. Now I have already gone ahead and made myself a template, because when you're working with random pieces like this, you kind of got to work out what you can fit in. Now, if you've got A3 card, then that's the best bet, which is how I did it with this. I literally played around with a piece of A3 card till I could see what the sort of best fit that I could get, and this will just about fit onto this piece of leather if I fiddle it around the right way. So you can see it literally just fits on. Now, that does then produce the problem of measurements, but if I explain how I've gone about the measurements, then hopefully you'll be able to adjust them to whatever you want to do, or whatever size you can get. So as I said, I wanted to be able to fit in 6x6s, which, you know, when unfolded would be like a 6x12 inches. And the maximum I could get on this width was 13.5, which is adequate, plenty adequate. So I've gone with 13.5. And the way I, if you think about it, I need 6 inches on this part of the cover, 6 inches on this part of the cover. I want roughly an inch for the spine. So I'm looking at 13 inches there. And that half an inch, that extra half an inch, which is like a 1/4 inch either side, will be enough, hopefully, for the signatures not to hang out. If any do, then I can just trim them, but at least that gives me that kind of width. So when you're thinking about making a traveler's notebook cover, think about how deep, well, this is the width, so think about how long your signatures are going to be. I have already sort of started prepping my signatures. So basically I'm looking at fitting in pieces like this, and they're not exactly 6x12, but they're in that kind of ballpark. So I knew I wanted 2 lots of 6 inches plus an inch for the spine, and then a little bit extra, whatever extra I could get. I would have preferred 14, but there was absolutely no way I could get the 14 inches on there. But this will do. So that's the width. So think about the size, add an inch on for your spine, and then a little bit for the sort of, because with these signatures I don't want to even them up like you would in a normal text block. I want to keep them fairly open like that. In terms of depth, so again, I wanted 6 inches, and then I wanted a 1/4 of an inch, at least a 1/4 of an inch from the end. So I'm going to show you that these fit just there. So I left, so I thought, right, a 1/4 of an inch, and then another 1/8 just to be on the safe side, because you don't want them too close here, otherwise they will pull. I mean, when I made this one, they were way too close to the edge, and you can see it's all pulled a little bit. So in that case, then I needed 6 inches, and then 3/8 at the top and 3/8 at the bottom, which gave me a total of 6 3/4. Luckily, I had a piece that would fit. If I hadn't, I would have just had to fiddle around and make a different decision on the sides. So it really is a case of look at what you've got, what's the biggest you'd be able to get in, and then work out how that would fit. So what I need to do is I now need to cut this leather. So I've just realised I haven't got my ruler, so I will be back in 2 secs. Okay, so I've got 2 different rulers here. I've got this one, which is centimeters, and then this one, which is inches. But both have got a metal edge. So I'm going to just literally, I'm going to use, because I'm not really able to mark this, I suppose I could with a white pen. So I'm just going to use, just checking that I've got it all on. So here's my piece of leather for my traveler's notebook. These, oh, excuse me, are the signatures. They're going to sit in like that, and as you can see, it then gives me just a nice little bit on the end there. So I'm quite pleased with that. So the next thing I need to do is to make the holes, and the good thing about having worked out using a piece of card is that I can then mark the holes. Now what you need is you need one right in the center, so that's the center this way and the center this way. And for my particular one, remember I started with 13.5 by 6 3/4. I've had to come in 6 3/4 and 3 3/8, and that's where my hole will be for this one. Okay, now I am going to use a white gel pen to mark. I'm hoping this is gonna show up. Let's check. Just about, that's fine. Now you then need 3 holes at the top and 3 holes at the bottom. Remember I mentioned that I left a 1/4 inch and then an extra 1/8. So 3/8 is coming in 3/8 from the top and in 3/8 from the bottom. And then each one of these is 3/8 from the center. So 3/8, 3/8. Okay, so the measurements are fairly sort of consistent, not lots of different ones. So I'm just going to use my white, hopefully my white gel pen is going to work, just so that I can see where the holes are. Now, if you've got a thin leather, or thinner leather than this, oh, that's not gonna, I'm not going to be, can I see those? Just about. Let's see if I get, there we go, a little bit more on there. And there's the 3 up there. Now, on a thinner leather, then you could use a screw punch. But I have already tried it on a little scrap of this leather, and it's not quite enough. So what I'm going to use is a crocodile. I will link this screw punch on the description, because I use this when I'm doing covers for all sorts of other journals as well. So I'm going to use my crocodile, and I am using I'm just looking at that because that doesn't look like that's far enough down. Just bear with me a moment. No. Okay, so I'm going to, when I punch these, I'm going to punch them just below those. Now I'm going to use the smaller hole, which is 1/8, and I know that will be enough. So I'm going to get this in. Yes, excuse me, I might have to speed this up in a minute, because the trouble with trying to use the crocodile is when you've got a light, it's not always easy to see, so you might find this suddenly speeds up. Okay, so I have my holes punched, and I can put this aside. I don't need that now. And the next thing is we need to thread the elastic on. Now I have this round elastic. It's black. I have some in white as well. But you could use whatever elastic you've got. You know, it could be the flat elastic. If you've got beading elastic, it might be a bit too thin. But yeah, you need some elastic, and I've gone for about 1 meter, which I think is probably going to be way too much, but at least, you know, it's somewhere to start. So let's make sure I've got the bigger bit, because I've got a smaller bit here as well for the next part. So what we're going to do is we're going to put it through the middle at the top. So I've got the inside of my cover facing up, and I put it through, and I'm leaving this tail. Okay, now I'm then going to come back up through this hole. like so. Okay. And we need to keep this piece here, its tail. And then we're going through this one to the outside. So this makes the first of your pieces to hold your signatures in. So then we come back in, like so, and then we're going to need to go back out this hole. Now, I know that I've got enough room there. If you don't, then what you can do is you can get a needle with just ordinary cotton, and you put it through and back, so you've got like a loop on this side. So you put the needle in from the back through to here, and then put it back through the same hole, leaving a loop this side, and then you put your elastic through, pull, and the loop pulls it through. Okay, so that's the second. Then I'm going to put it back through there, and then through here. So that's the third one, and then like before, we then need to come back up this middle one, if I can see what I'm doing. Oh, where are you going? It might not be as straightforward as I thought it would be. There we go. Couldn't see the hole. So that's come back up there. Right, so let's just tidy these up, get them all sorted. So I'm going to put it this way so that I can see what I'm doing, because this one is not lying straight, but we can sort that out. And then put that there. And put that there. Okay. Oh, getting things all caught. Now, what I'm trying to fiddle around with here. Now, you can see that this is pulling in already. So what I don't want that. So I just need to loosen this off a little bit. I'm just going to pull this so that that one will lie. And then I'm going to pull this one so that one will lie. And then just pull that there and there. Oh. And you can just pull that. So these are, you want them, you don't want them really loose, but you don't want them really tight either. So you can see by pulling that there, that's given me quite a nice tension. Okay, now what I need to do is I need to tie these two together, and I'm going to do it loosely. I'm just going to do it one at the moment, because what I don't want to do is tie it too tight and then find that we've got a problem. So just for now, I'm just securing that, and I'm going to cut off the excess. Okay, now we won't see these bits once we've got the signatures in. Now I haven't finished. But what I'm just going to do is I'm just going to pop these in just to see how it sits in. It might be a bit loose, but it might be okay. We'll see how we go. So that's that one in. And now I'm going to add to these signatures. I'm going to show you how I make them, what I've used. This is looking okay, I think. Not too bad. And then the last one in like so. Okay, so we're looking all right. I'm quite happy with that. Yeah. Now I'm going to have to take these out because there is one more thing we need to do. Or now need to make the loop that's going to hold it together when it's closed. So I've got another piece of elastic here, and I think this was about 60 centimeters. You may have noticed I do like to mix my measurements. I've done all of that in inches, and now I'm talking centimeters. Go figure. I don't know why I do it, but I do. Okay, so what I've done is I have pushed. Let me just make sure that's not right. I pushed the elastic out through the hole and then back in the hole, and I need a loop here. Okay, now on the smaller one, so this one I did here, you can see it's about 1.5 inches smaller, maybe not quite, maybe just about 1 inch by the time it's full. And I know that I left a 3-inch loop, so I'm going to probably say we'll go with maybe 3.5 inches. So what I'm doing on my board here, each square is 1/2 inch. So I'm going to go 1, 2, 3.5. So we're going to need to come out a little bit more, which is fine. I find where my thing is. I don't want it to be stretched. I want it to sit at 3.5. With it just being relaxed. 1, 2, 3, and we need to just come a little bit further. 1, 2, 3.5, and I think that will be enough. Okay, so I'm going to go back in and I'm going to tie a knot. Again, like I said before, you won't see these knots because they'll be covered up by the signatures. So I'm just tying off this knot in here. Try and get that as close down as I can. Now it needs to be a big enough knot that it's not going to go back through the hole. I'm hoping that that will be fine. And the idea then is it will stretch, which that looks like it's going to be fine, over to hold it all in place. Okay, so I can cut this little bit off. Now this piece can be used like a bookmark. So I am going to see if I can, I didn't do this on the last one. Let's see if I can poke that back out, that one. I may be asking too much to get third piece of elastic through there. It's just I found with the other one, it doesn't sit quite right. Bear with me, I'm going to see if I can push that through. What have I got that? Oh, pair of tweezers. Let's see if we can use a pair of tweezers to get that through. Yes. Okay, so now this will act more like a bookmark because it will go in, and I will be able to attach. I've got a charm like I did on the last one, a little charm. It's just got my initial on, which I'm going to have so that it will come just below. Just got to make a little knot there. These charms are just I had in my stash from something else, so I've not left that quite long enough. But there we go. And I'm going to cut that off. Okay. And I've also decided to put some corner protectors on because it's quite thin material, and these literally just pinch on like so. literally just push down. Janie does do these periodically. She'll do little packs while I'm doing this. But if you're really enjoy Janie's products and bookbinding, and she does stamping and the sort of the kind of lap books and things. Oh, I've lost one. Oh, there it is. There is she has got a Facebook group called Crafting with Janie's Originals, and lots of inspiration goes in there, but also periodically she'll do live sales. Is that the same? Just looking to see whether I've got the same. Oh, I have, just looked a bit different. She will periodically do live sales, and that's not the same. I'm going to leave that off for the minute. I'm not going to sit and worry about it. That one's not gone quite on. Really need a pair of pliers, which I don't know where my pliers are, to get that to stay. But for now, you get the idea. And then there'll be the two on the back. So, yeah, so she does these live sales, and quite often they're things that aren't on the website. So for example, she might do some fabric bundles, which I have bought multiples of. The other thing she does sometimes is the like vintage pages, which I'm going to show you in a minute. But I digress. So let's have a look. So I've got my signatures, but I'm going to show you a little bit more about those. Make sure I'm facing the microphone. Right, sorry. For me, a traveler's notebook is different from a junk journal that I might make, in that because you can take the individual pages out, I find I'm more likely to use it for art journaling. And so I tend to put in paper that has how can I say it? Different texture paper that lends itself to art. So in here already I've got a mixture of let's see what I've got here. I have used some vintage papers, and I will show you how I make those into the right size, because in a junk journal I might stick them that way, but even then I prefer them up that way, so I tend to join them, and I'll show you that in a minute. What else have I got? Oh, I've got some printed paper. These are, don't ask me which ones, but they are some of Janie's papers. She does an awful lot of printed paper packs. So some nice printed paper. I have this is recycled cartridge paper. Yeah, and you can get this from Janie. Nice texture. And then I've got some watercolor card. This I don't even know what it is. I have been doing art stuff for many years, and the front cover of this has come off. I think it's some sort of for pencils maybe, but I put some of that in. In fact, I'll get another one of those out. And then the other thing I put in is mixed media paper. I quite like using that for inks, and for you know, rather than just paper, but acrylics and that kind of thing. So for something like this, let's move those out of the way for the moment. Please excuse my very old trimmer, but it sort of does the job. So when I've got paper like that I've taken out, I will just trim off the end. I think that's the only ones. Okie dokie. The next thing I will do, these are mostly A4, so I'm kind of, no, not those are the same, and these are the same. So what I would do is measure, because I want these about 6 inches. So if you bear with me, you can see on my board here. Oh no, yes you can. Just sorry, I've gone out of the picture. As I said earlier, each square is an inch. So if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so 6 inches there. And I will just trim them down. Now these offcuts will not be wasted. They will go in with all my other scraps for junk journaling. So the last one I've got here now is this is vintage paper, and I was telling you about the live sales that Janie does on her Crafting with Janie's originals. So I mean this is a recent bundle that I got from her, and it's a whole sort of real eclectic mix. There's some an old map, there's some braille paper, some sort of labels, some old till roll type things, some old headed note paper. There's all sorts that comes in the bundles, but they're not for sale on the website. So if you're interested in that kind of thing, then head on over to Janie's Originals, and she'll put up when she's doing a sale. Not always the same things, you know. So you know you might get some sales where there's not much that you want, but other sales, believe me, have loads. Now what I've done is I just trimmed off those two margins, and what I'm going to do is put, if I can find it, put some glue down here. Just, I'm gluing them together to make one piece, like so. Okay, and then I'm just checking. I'm probably going to trim off these ends. It probably still be too big, so that's also okay. And I'm going to trim off, just fits. I'm going to trim off that end there, and then again we need this to be 6 inches. So let's see, a pencil so we can get 6 inches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 inches. So get that through. Sometimes it doesn't fit through, and I just fold it in half. Now these bits that I'm cutting off will not be wasted. They'll go in junk journaling. I have some videos where I'm trying to make use of scraps, so nothing is going to waste. Now, those out of the way. Need to fold these. You see, this one looks like it's going to be too big, but we can trim that in a moment. And the easiest way I found is to use, this is Janie's Originals book hook. There is this bit here, and that sits over the edge of your desk, and then this sits flush then on your desk. Because of the way the camera is, I can't actually do that, but I can still show you how I would use this to fold, and this would be for my signatures, for anything. You literally just butt the end of the piece of paper up to there, and you know it's square, and then you push that one up as well, and then Right, let's just add these in. So I've got these now all nice and ready, and the beauty, I think, oh, that's the other thing, I did use some these are just 12 by 12 papers cut down, and again they will, when you do art journaling, you know, just using on a different color background completely changes things. So all of it is there for a purpose for me. But like I say, you can take the whole piece out when you're using a traveler's notebook. Put a piece of that in there. And yeah, you can just pick and choose which bit you're gonna use. And it also, I think for me, I'm much more aware. I have this tendency in my junk journals. I like doing big double page spreads. In here, you can still do that. I just realized I've totally neglected this cool one. You can totally do that, but obviously it doesn't show as a double page spread unless it's right in the middle. So I'm much more, it makes me think much more about sort of focusing on just one part. Now you see that one is really, really quite big. So I'm just going to grab my big scissors and I'm just going to give it a little bit of a trim rather than get the thing out. There we go, that will do. Okay, so let's have a look at. So thank you very much for joining me on my first ever video as an ambassador for Janie's Originals. And hopefully I will be bringing you more of her goodies very soon. And make sure to tune in to Hobby Maker for Janie's first shows this week. Thank you.